Hi, parents. This is Mr. Bailey. I'm your teacher, or your student's pre-calculus teacher, actually. In this presentation, I'm just going to share with you guys what the class is like, what it'll be like for your student, how they're graded, what they'll need, how to handle it if they end up being absent this year, how you can be helpful to them, and then finally, how you can get a hold of me if you need to. Pre-calculus, what is it? Well, it's not typically for most students is not a required class for graduation. Kids need 3 classes of math to graduate, and most kids satisfy that by the time they're done with Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2. So if your student's in pre-calculus, either A, they're ahead of the game, or B, they are interested in going farther in math. In either case, that's awesome. Pre-calculus is basically a summary of everything that your student has learned so far in math. Specifically gearing towards calculus, which is the class that comes after this. So I would say probably about 80% of this class is really just review of old stuff, but bending it towards getting them ready for calculus. So that would be the purpose of the class. So why should they take pre-calculus? Well, hey, more math classes on the transcript can never hurt. Math classes always look good whenever you're applying for colleges. But I would hope that your students interested in a math or science related field, because then the class will actually be beneficial to them. But either way, it's a good thing. If your student's taking calculus next year, then this is a great class to be in, because it's going to get them a little bit more grounded for that. Now, what does a typical week in here look like? So before I go over this little slide that I've got displayed, let me say that I'm trying something new for myself this year. I've dabbled in it with it before in the past, but this is the first year I've really done it majorly, and that is I'm doing what's called a flipped model. What you guys are probably used to is like a teacher will teach the lesson in class and the students go home and do some homework. And both of those things are very important in a math class. I'm flipping it though. I'm asking the kids to do the notes at home, and we do the classwork here, the homework here instead. Why am I doing that? Well, they can watch the notes at home and take the notes at home. They may have questions or be unsure. We'll talk about them when they get back, but no matter what, they can definitely complete the assignment when they're there, because all it is watching and writing down what they see on the screen. Having kids do homework at home is kind of problematic. They may have paid attention in class, but if they go home and try to work out problems, well, there's no one there to help them necessarily. And sometimes they struggle and there's no one to ask. But with notes, all they have to do is copy. And so I like to do the practice problems in class, and that way they can ask me questions while they're working through it. So far it seems to be going really well this year. Another good benefit of it is, like with homework, I usually just kind of give them credit for trying it. And here I do the same thing even with classwork now, but the difference is they actually know whether they're getting things right or not right away, because I'm there to check work with them. They're working with peers. So I'm really excited about it. It seems to be going well so far. So let's look at a typical week here. As you guys can see, on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, class time is just classwork. We review the concepts together, we take their questions, and then we work on the worksheet together in groups. And it's gone really well so far. I'm really happy with it. And as you guys can see here, on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, they have their homework is to, and actually Sunday as well, their homework is to watch a lesson, and the lesson that they're watching, that will be the classwork that they're working on the next day. That's why I put a lesson on Sunday night. That way they're ready for Monday morning. That's what we're going to talk about. Now, technically, they can really do that lesson on Friday or Saturday if they don't want to do it on Sunday, but I put it on Sunday there. So they have really an option of where to put that last one. But you'll notice there is a difference in the week here somewhere. On Tuesday night, instead of giving them a lesson to watch, I give them a study guide. And that's because on Wednesday, when they come into class, we have an actual quiz. So their study guide works like this. I give them a study guide to work on. I try to make the study guide look as much like the quiz as I can. And I give them a video to show them how to do each problem. They don't have to watch the video. It's just there to help them if they need help on a particular problem. And then on Wednesday, they should be good and ready to take their quiz. And the quiz is just testing them on things that we've talked about in the week before, up to that day. So anything from Thursday up through Tuesday, that's what would be on the quiz. So that's a typical week in here. And here's how your student would be graded. As you guys can see down here, homework, participation, and notes, these ones. These are what I call effort-based grades. I don't grade them based on their accuracy. I just grade them based on their effort. And just to be clear, this says homework, but what I mean by that is classwork. That's the practice problems that we're trying in class. The cool thing is, even though I'm grading them based on effort only, they still know whether they're getting it right or wrong, and we're still helping them, because most kids are walking out of here with 100% on it, like in terms of accuracy. But it is graded just for effort alone. What will your student need in this class? Well, they'll need a notebook. We do have a textbook, but I don't use the textbook as much. I use mostly my own materials, and so their notebook is going to be a very important resource for them. It's their textbook, pretty much. We have a real textbook, but their notebook is the textbook we're really using. So they want to make sure they have their notes organized, neat, kept there, because we're going to be reviewing a lot throughout the year, and they're going to want to be able to have something to go back to remember things. Now, another thing they're going to need is a scientific calculator. Now, technically, your student can get by just fine without one. But, hey, it's nice for them to have their own scientific calculator. They're about $10. I'd recommend getting one if it's not too much trouble. Now, if your student is going to be going into another math class next year, like calculus, or if they're going into a science or mathematics-related field after high school, you might want to invest in a graphing calculator so they can start getting used to those. Those are a little bit more difficult to operate, but if they're going into calculus, they need one next year, and it'll just be really helpful. And my graphing calculator, I've had it since I was in college. I'm 40 now, so here I am. I'm still using it 20 years later. It was a great investment. I'm glad I have it. But the problem with those ones is they cost about $150. That's a lot of money. So if your student is going to be going into a math or science-related field or taking calculus next year, then it's worth considering to invest in it. If not, don't worry about it. Just get them a scientific. And you know what, quite honestly, they can even get by without a scientific. It would just be nice to have it. But that notebook, make sure they're having their notebook and keeping their notes updated and in order. That's important. This year I'm anticipating the kids to be absent a lot because we're still getting used to this COVID thing. A lot of kids are getting quarantined for just even being exposed, and they're gone for at least a week. That's kind of tough. So if your student does end up having to stay home for an extended quantity of time, just know that everything's on Google Classroom. The lessons on there, the classwork, they can do it all from home technically. Email me if they have questions. The only thing they can't do at home is the tests and the quizzes typically. They'll have to wait until they get back to do those. Now, if your student's actually sick, well, they've got to rest. I understand that. But if they're just being quarantined or something like that comes up to where they can't come to school, then just encourage them just to keep up as much as possible and not fall behind, because it is difficult to catch up once they get far behind. So now, how can you be helpful to your student? Well, I think one of the things that helps students out a lot is helping them to make a schedule for their lives. A lot of kids are in after-school activities, or they're in multiple really challenging classes like AP classes and things like that. And sitting down, just making a schedule from Monday through Sunday with them, showing where they can put everything, when they're going to do the homework for each of these classes and stuff, could be very helpful to them to feel like they've got some control over their life throughout the week. And also, help you understand, how much time that they need to do these kinds of things and how you can work around their schedule as well. Google Classroom is where all the assignments are posted, and it's also where the kids turn in most of their assignments as well. So that's a good place for you guys to be able to sign into and look at every once in a while, see how they're doing. Are they turning their things in? What kind of comments have I been leaving on their assignments and things like that? PowerSchool is a good place to look if you want to track your students' attendance, or if you want to track their grade progress, things like that. If your student's having trouble with math, they can always come in and see me after school. I just ask that they let me know when they plan on coming so I can plan to be here, make time for that. But the school offers something known as Princeton Review. Basically, it's an online program where you can get live tutoring from a tutor virtually at any time of day, even like in the middle of the night, which I hope we're not doing math in the middle of the night, but that's an option. And it's free. They give you a certain number of hours, but it is free. So that's a cool thing. And if you're interested in that, just talk to the counseling department and they'll teach you how to get on board with that. Finally, if you need help from me with anything, just email me. This is my email here, and that's about all that I have for you guys. So look forward to hearing from you guys. Hope you're having a good year so far, and we'll wish you guys a good rest of your year. Have a good one. Bye-bye.